My name is Janet Lee Sheriff. I am the CEO of Verdera Energy Corp, a uranium developer in the state of New Mexico.
Janet, how are you?
Hey.
You good?
You meet the strangest people in Tonopah.
You do. I think we just hang out long enough. Interesting people walk by, so we're good. We're good.
I love it.
Love to see you. You were down in the Canaccord conference down in Las Vegas.
I was, and before that I was in Albuquerque speaking at a tribal energy conference, and now I'm celebrating Jim Butler Days.
Great story. Thoroughly recommend anyone look up the Jim Butler Tonopah. Great story, silver. Look, when we last caught up, we talked a lot about sort of the amount of data that you've got on the projects down there in New Mexico, and you're processing everything. So how's that all going?
It's a lot, I have to admit, and we have found more. So there's a great deal of information, but it's leading to moving into applying for a permit at West Largo. We started the 43101 work for West Largo. So it's serving its purpose, and it's also showing us a lot of projects across New Mexico that I think are going to serve the company and the shareholders very well over years.
Right. Now, it's just looking at the board and the management and the advisors. It's quite. They are very well established in the space. They see something in your company. What are they buying into?
They're buying into the potential New Mexico has in the nuclear renaissance in the United States.
Right.
The United States is not reaching its goals without the state of New Mexico being actively part of it because of the vast resources in New Mexico.
Right.
So they see the potential as long as we get the information out about New Mexico, because it's been a forgotten story for so many years.
Okay, so this isn't there was the understand the assets that you got and the process you're going through, but you're saying the New Mexico component for them is the interesting missing link, as it were.
And the projects.
Right.
For example, the West Largo project is the highest grade ISR project in the United States.
Okay.
There's a company in New Mexico, Verdera Energy, that's developing the largest uranium project in the United States. So we're in good company, and there's a window with the federal push on nuclear and the global push for nuclear and the demand for it.
Right. But you need to be able to do business down there. I think one of the questions I get asked a lot about projects and companies down there is, are they going to be able to operate down there? So what is the actual working environment like, with whether it be political, the tribes, or even social more broadly?
That's a very fair question and a very fair issue. And what happened, the U.S. was completely independent for its uranium production in 1980. 3 Mile Island, the Cold War ending, really saw the outsource of uranium. So projects in New Mexico, projects in the U.S. really started to fade off. And New Mexico also was dealing with a lot of historical issues from pre-EPA days, where they left legacy issues that impacted the land and the people. So it really started to fall off the radar. And there wasn't a lot of interest in uranium extraction in the state. I'm seeing changes, and I'm seeing changes because we're also focused. Before you can buy into the project, you have to buy into the region. So we're doing a lot of education with companies like Verdera Energy and the Clean Energy Association to provide information about in situ recovery. Because it's a technology that did have a test project in New Mexico, but never advanced.
Right.
So I think they need to see that this is a viable technology and that there is a way to do uranium extraction. Right. And realize what they're sitting on.
Yes.
And these are not my stats. This is the state. This is UPA, Uranium Producers of America. Yeah. We know of, through historical and known, about 500 million pounds of uranium in the state of New Mexico, more than any other state. Yeah. And they also believe, and this is a state stat that can be verified, that there's another 500 million pounds. So if you're sitting on that much uranium and there's more work to do, you can fuel the nation. So really it's understanding that as that's with current demands. But as we go into AI, we go into small modular reactors, you need New Mexico. So New Mexico has to see its place in the nuclear cycle. And with the only enrichment facility, they have the ability to really lead the nation.
That's amazing. That's a lot. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So your job, you talk about obviously the educational components, and what does that look like in reality on the ground?
It's a lot of community, it's boots on the ground community engagement. We've taken people to Crow Butte with Cameco's project to show them what an ISR project is. We just recently hosted, or developed and hosted, a conference called Nuclear in New Mexico. We had over 200 people there, everyone from tribal representatives, citizens, universities, the national labs, utility buyers, utility companies, the enrichment facility, and we had a conversation about where have we been, where are we, and where do we want to go. And we realized that we filled a gap in communications with this knowledge. It's all online. People go to cleannm.org. You can watch the entire conference online.
Amazing. So just want to go tribal, because again, the specific people go, the kind of tribal component influences the political environment at a state level, so therefore they must be on board. So what does that engagement, not one of the engagements, but how are they engaged, and how are they involved, more importantly?
I think the whole push and eventual decisions about buying into uranium extraction is going to be from the ground up. It's not going to be politically driven. The people are going to get educated. They're going to make decisions, and they're going to push up.
Okay.
The tribes have to acknowledge the fears in the community about the past and respecting that, and then showing different ways to go forward. So there's a number of companies that are engaged with the tribes. And that really is just building a relationship, proposing different ways to work together. You see it with Energy Fuels. You see it with DISA on waste management.
That's right.
It's coming. And it really was a hard no in the past. I'm not hearing it's a hard no. We have to fix the past, but we also have to be involved in the future. And there is a huge opportunity, and there also is a way to be really involved in true business, public-private partnerships with the right industry members.
Okay, well, that is good to hear for a start. So as a kind of, this could be the energy source for the country.
Yes.
I mean, it really can be, and that's a lot of pounds on the ground at the moment. ISR, is it mostly ISR we're talking about, or is there
all of our projects are ISR amenable?
Right.
We would not develop anything that isn't. And we have 88 million pounds in our company of historic and known resources. And we have actually more pounds in the ground than I think any other exploration company in the U.S.
I think that's right.
So we will do more testing. We'll do more drilling to expand our resources. They have a high cutoff grade. That I think that the state will be agreeable to an ISR project if we do it the right way, if we involve the community the right way. And I think that's how I ended up at Verdera. My past in the Yukon, working with the First Nations for 30 years, really bringing that model where we enter into agreements for exploration, for operations, and really involve the community in a meaningful way, serves the shareholders very well.
So what's the opportunity here? Because if I look at your illustrious board of management, a board and advisors, they are explorers, developers, and currently producers as well. So you kind of got the full remit in there. Is the idea here that you kind of build something up which you go on to produce yourselves, or are we? I wonder what I'm buying into. Well, what's the big idea?
Yeah. People on our board are extremely knowledgeable on the regulations, the policies, legislation, permitting. We also have representatives from Encore on there. So we see being able to draw on, in the future, the knowledge from the operators. We do not have an agreement in place with Encore, but that's one of our options. But
they're shareholder, aren't
they're 15%.
15% shareholder, okay.
So as we move forward, there are the options to work with people that have more knowledge than us on how to produce and how to build an ion exchange facility, how to build a central processing plant. So that's our plan. We need the social license to operate, and that is the first focus as we also get our projects into modern day standards.
Right. So how do you obviously you've got to tell me you're undervalued. You've got to tell me this is all going to be amazing for me as a shareholder. But how do you kind of stack up against some of these other US players? Because we interview them all.
Yeah.
And as you say, they've got £10 million here and £10 million there, and it's enough to kind of get things going. Some of the valuations that are being achieved off the back of just that alone is significant compared to where you are today. So, do you think the kind of big release valve is what precisely will that release valve be in terms of that community relations or permitting or licensing or approvals or whatever it is that you think you need to get to? And how far away is that?
I think with the conference that we just developed and hosted, we advanced our community relationships by over a year.
Okay.
We opened a door.
Yeah.
And it's our responsibility to now follow up in the community with the tribes.
Yeah.
And keep it moving.
Yeah.
I see New Mexico as being pivotal going forward because of the size of the deposits. And what I've learned through my time at Encore was bigger is better. Mm-hmm. And if you have a 20 million pound resource or a series of 5 million pound resource, you're in a much stronger position.
Yeah.
It's far more economic. It's far more viable. So that's why New Mexico is better.
Yeah.
Social licensing takes a long time, but you can make progress.
Yep.
And one of the things I learned from you working in the Yukon is you just have to keep showing up. Yep. You have to build trust. And you have to assume there's no trust from the past. So you just keep building and building. And then once you get to a place, you can start talking about agreements and business proposals. And I do feel that they're ready.
Right. So your focus and your team's focus is entirely on that. That's the best use of your time and efforts.
It's the best use of my time.
Right.
I have consultants for permitting. I have people that are working on 43101s. I have a strong board that's involved and going through the data. But mine is get the social license. Yeah. And I think that is what will carry the day. But at the same time, you have to be moving on the other path to advance the assets. We think that with the work that we do with, say, a drill program at West Largo, these projects were all developed by oil and gas companies in the past, and they were very conservative in their estimates. Mm-hmm. And the project like West Largo, there's periphery that we can work on drilling, expand the resource, and also work on a different cutoff grade.
Okay, so that technical work is happening.
It is happening, yes.
And operationally on the ground, people are advancing that as well, because that's what the market's going to need to see. Confirmation that it's not just size, but it's commercial.
Yes,
it's economic, and all of those good things. So, what would we be looking to time-wise for you to be able to kind of come back to the market and say, look, here's the opportunity ahead of us. Now we'll go through a process of getting social license, etc.
So this year we'll see work done at West Largo. We'll see an updated, a modernized 43101 at West Largo. Yeah. We are working on a plan for Ambrosia Lake. Yeah. We're doing a scoping study for a central processing plant and where the best location for that is. And we are also going through the data. We're getting inquiries now from other companies that are looking for projects. We have all their data. Between the Kerr-McGee data and the URI data, we hold well over 90% of all the data for New Mexico, which is proprietary. So there's the value for the shareholders. So we see the potential to do joint ventures and vend out projects to increase the cash and capital in the company.
Right. And I'll just finish off with U.S. government's been kind of quite instrumental in sort of bringing attention to the uranium space again. Lots of talks about very big data centers, AI leading the way across the nation. How do you think that your vision of New Mexico being a kind of an epicenter for energy needs for the U.S. it is noted yet, is understood yet? How do you engage with the U.S. government, I guess, is the question.
I think that we're in a stronger position if we go to the U.S. government with the tribes. And I think the tribes need to pick the right partners, and we hope that we're one of them.
Yeah.
And then you go to the U.S. government.
Right.
They're aware of their shortages. They're aware of their need for domestic. I hope they're aware of New Mexico.
Yeah.
I think New Mexico can be a soup to nuts leader in the entire nuclear cycle. They have to want it. But I do hope that the U.S. government knows this. My question to people was, why do I think that I can achieve this? Because it is something that does serve the company, but where's my knowledge coming from that I think I can work with the tribes? 30 years in the Yukon, I negotiated numerous agreements, permitted projects and operated projects that people said weren't going to happen. And it just starts from just showing up constantly. But I would hope that we would be one of the companies that would be able to achieve a business relationship with the tribes.
Janet, lovely to see you. I know you're busy at the moment. You've got some groupies over there, I believe. Yours, not mine. So
they're holding my breakfast.
they are. Good to see you. See you soon.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Appreciate it.